bounce back from the disruptions of COVID-19 and find business and career opportunities. I'd like to say reposition is possible. Last year, Springboard undertook the COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program in partnership with Mastercard Foundation and Solidaridad. We call it the CORE program. CORE was designed to provide e-learning, e-mentoring, and e-counseling support to young people to enable them survive and thrive in the midst of the pandemic. Today, we are launching the CORE Tales of Resilience, a compilation of 200 stories about how young people were supported to survive, thrive, and create opportunities even in the face of COVID. By the end of the 6-month intervention, CORE reached over 23 million people across Ghana and beyond. After we met all final year entrepreneurship students in the 3 universities recently when Ken, Albert, and I had the opportunity to travel, Albert and I discussed how transformational it would be if 10,000 final year entrepreneurs can get access to these CORE Tales of Resilience to find out how they can be inspired, they can venture out and create new businesses, and most importantly, employ others. That, for us, would definitely be a game changer. It is therefore no coincidence that as we are launching this book on a day that our good friend, Mr. Salom Adadivo, is joining us, we are able to say we launched it, well, I mean, we were able to, when we launched CORE, the CORE program itself, it became evident that many young people hit by the pandemic could not afford data access to fully participate in the mentoring, learning, and counseling sessions being offered freely to them. The virtual sessions were not being patronized as highly as we had envisaged. Therefore, we went crying to Solom and Team Springboard, Team MTN, and they graciously zero-rated our webpage for the entire 6 months. So core.com.gh was free for all MTN users across the country. Nobody paid a pesewa. Thank you so much, Salom. Thank you, Team MTN. A big thank you to our 300 mentors, over 50 professional counselors of the Ghana Psychological Association, National Service Scheme brought their service personnel, and all stakeholders who made CORE possible with sacrifices, with personnel and everything. Today, we will hear from Natalie Gabala of Mastercard Foundation, Salom Adadivo, and Ken Oforiata. We would also have some youth voices sharing their testimonies from CORE, some music from Kwampa Band, and spoken word from Ofosua. Of course, there'll be some wow moments with you, winning some laptops, airtime, cash prizes, and today that's courtesy of all our sponsors. Our MC, Kafuide, will shortly tell us about how to win. So I encourage you, do get ready for a full-blown Springboard experience. Thanks to our partners, MTN Pulse, the Enterprise Group, UMB Bank, Mastercard Foundation, Solidaridad, and our media partners, the Multimedia Group, Graphic Communications Group, and the Global Media Alliance. Once again, may I say thank you and welcome to the virtual convocation of the Springboard Roadshow put together by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Do reach out to a friend, tag them, and ask them to share in this amazing experience. God bless. Thank you.
Enterprise Advantage Wow Moment is rewarding one Springboard virtual participant with a brand new laptop just for participating. To win, download and install the Enterprise Advantage app, create an account on the app, and familiarize yourself with the features. Send a screenshot of the installed app via WhatsApp to 024 9999 555. You'll receive simple questions from Springboard. Reply with the answers through WhatsApp. The first person to successfully install the Enterprise Advantage app and get all questions correct will win the brand new laptop from Enterprise Group. The winner will be announced before today's convocation closes and the laptop dispatched to you wherever you are. The UMB Speed Up Wow Moment is rewarding 3 Springboard virtual participants with cash prizes just for participating. To win, download and install the UMB Speed app. Click on Self-Register, followed by Select Mobile Wallet, followed by Select Non-UMB Customer, and complete the details. Send a screenshot of the installed app via WhatsApp to 024 9999 555. You'll receive simple questions immediately from Springboard. Reply with the answers through WhatsApp. The person to successfully install the UMB Speed app and get all questions correct wins 1,500 cedis cash in their wallet from the UMB Speed Up Wow Moment. The second winner will receive 1,000 cedis and the third goes away with 500 cedis. The winners will be announced before today's convocation closes.
Thank you so much, Reverend and Mrs. Okran, for inviting us, for having us at this event. We are so grateful. The name of the band is Konpa, an indigenous Ghanaian palm wine band. Listen to these songs. We give you 2. First from Nana Kwame Ampedu titled Obra, and then we give you a second one from Bob Cole. Enjoy this. Onipane yo bereya, onipane yo bereya, ye boniseni, akoko pepe biatono, ajise onoa ovra, anywara. Onipane yo bereya, ye boniseni. Akoko pepe biatono, I just say onoa anywhere Nana Kwame Ampedu say Obra anywhere Wampire so you say Obra anywhere. Listen, me ya bofranoa yeto mamitieno na me ho preme se anka me ye penyintemo na me angaza me di me uso ewa brapo imu nensu se na mpenye wo we enna fomo onipane yo bireya anywhere Nana Kwame Ampedu say Obra
Relation to convocation are life changing.
Anywhere Wampire so you say Obra anywhere. Listen to this.
UMB Bank, formerly known as Merchant Bank, was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. From operating solely as a merchant bank, UMB has over the last 45 years evolved into a fully fledged universal bank, offering services in the corporate, retail and private banking arenas, providing customers with an exceptional banking experience. Through the use of advanced technology and innovative products and services, UMB's 45 years showcase the bank's unyielding dedication to its customers, a move that has resulted in the growing and continued success of the bank. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. UMB's commitment to exceptional customer service has led to long-standing relationships.
UMB has speed as their hallmark. Everything is faster because most of the time you want to get back to lectures on time. The customer service is excellent and is brilliant.
Universal Merchant Bank provides us with ATM which runs 24-hour and serves the needs of students.
A modern bank recognized for its innovative use of technology and distinctive banking solutions, including internet banking and customer-focused initiatives since 1972, we look to the future because we work for the future today. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from the entire Enterprise family. It's such a pleasure to be able to be associated once again with this all-important program. At Enterprise, our roots date back almost 100 years in this country. We started out as insurance, and because our roots are so strong, along the way, we've branched out into pensions, facilities management, and funeral services, and many more. And in all of this, we have distinguished ourselves, making us one of the most admired companies in Ghana today. In our operations in Gambia, Nigeria, and here in Ghana, we are known for delivering customized solutions that cater for our clients' needs from cradle to grave. We are especially interested in the youth, and so we have identified financial literacy for the youth as one of our core focus areas for our corporate social investment activities. It is therefore no wonder that we associate ourselves with Springboard. Springboard consistently delivers for us the target market that is a direct fit with our brand. The nuggets of wisdom that are dispersed from matriculation to convocation are life-changing. It is said that a day spent with a maestro is worth a week of reading. With Springboard, you certainly spend good time with experts. So finally, this morning, my advice to you is that you reposition yourself to enter into a whole new world of learning. And while you're at it, remember that whether it's insurance, pensions, property management, or funeral services, Enterprise will always give you an advantage. Thank you.
Don't be left out. Download the Pulse app from the App Store or Play Store to mash up all day, every day. You can also enjoy more mashup. Just buy the new Mega Bundle and get 3 GB data, extra 400 megabytes for your social apps, and free MTN to MTN calls every Monday. So go ahead, feel the Pulse on MTN Pulse. Just be. We're good together. Everywhere you go.
So excited to be here. This is the Springboard 2021 Roadshow Virtual Convocation. My name is Kafri Day. Blessed and pleased to be your moderator, master of ceremonies. Before you hear citing about how they have been impacted, I want to just give you some great news from MTN. It's the MTN Pulse Wow Moment. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and they are true or false questions, and there are prizes riding on these questions. So this is the first question. Reading articles and doing mashups on the MTN Pulse app do not require data. True or false? Reading articles and doing mashups on the MTN Pulse app do not require data. Is it true or false? Second question is, watching videos on the MTN Pulse requires data. True or false? Watching videos on the MTN Pulse app requires data. True or false? Send your answers to the Springboard WhatsApp line 024 99 555. 024 555. One of the most friendly numbers I've ever pronounced. The first two people to get the answers correctly will win 100 Ghana cedis worth of MTN airtime each. And that's something you want to look forward to. So our hashtag is hashtag Springboard 2021 and hashtag the big one. There are interesting presentations coming up and a colloquium. You want to be sending your questions to this number 0544 315161. And we are live right now on YouTube and on Facebook on the Springboard Roadshow platforms, as well as on myjoyonline.com, Joy 99.7 FM, Joy Prime, and YFM in Accra, Kumasi, and Takrady. Get ready to listen to some youth voices right now. Impact stories from beneficiaries of the core program. You're welcome once again, wherever you're watching us around this country and all around the world. This is the Springboard 2021 Roadshow Virtual Convocation.
through the core program, I develop idea of renovating myself. So right now, I invented some projects which I would like to share with you as well. Which one is for hatching eggs. Through the core program, the mentoring session, I am on various platforms on WhatsApp. The core program, I'm on various platforms. I'm on the Agric platform and also the electrical platform. I am the leader of the core electrical mentoring group. So through the mentoring session, I developed the idea to invent incubator for hatching eggs to help the poultry farmers and also the startup to hatch their eggs in their own comfortable zone as well. And the second one is I invented stabilizer, which is controlled by mobile phone. Now, this stabilizer helps in many ways. You can be in your office and control your lights in your house or your workshop anywhere without having access to the lights. You can use your mobile phone to control all those gadgets in your homes. Let's say, example, TV, fridge, anything that you want the stabilizer to control for you, you can use. You can be anywhere to control it as well. And also the third one is drink dispenser machine. Drink dispenser machine helps to when you go to shopping malls, you only have to insert a coin inside the machine and it will sell a drink for you automatically. So I thank core program and also the organizers of core program as well. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Baba Belinda Bedu and I'm a final year student at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. So I got to know about the core program on Instagram. Hello everyone, my name is Baba Belinda Bedu and I'm a final year student at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. So I got to know about the core program on Instagram. I got interested in the topic of discussion, so I decided to join in, after which I was introduced to the core e-mentoring session. That was how my journey with the core program began. Before joining the core program, I was going through a lot of challenges, especially financially. Through the core session, the counseling sessions, and then the e-learning sessions, I got to know that as human beings, challenges are inevitable, but then how we respond to them or how we react to them determines the outcome. And I also got to know that I could actually attain financial independence without having to work for people. And with that knowledge, I ventured into the sales of fabrics and into the tie and dye business, which really boosted my finances. Also, through the core program, I got the opportunity of a paid internship with Global Media Alliance, after which I landed myself a job. So I would say that although my encounter with the core program has been very brief, it's been definitely the most life-changing experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm the CEO of Baisavak Enterprise. Baisavak Enterprise is a manufacturing of slippers and sandals enterprise. We are located in Kaswa, Tuba. Before core, I was a dance teacher in one of the private schools. So we were asked to stay home through the lockdown. And as as I was in the house, things were really tough and things were really getting worse. At that time, my wife is also pregnant and there's no income that comes in to take care of her. And I heard about core program. So I decided to take part and also to participate in it. And whilst taking part, I learned about discovering your talent, doing business with your talent. So I said, no, whilst I have these skills of making slippers and sandals, why not implement it or do it so that I can earn income to take care of the family? So I started doing that, and also following the core episode, I applied all to my skills that I have, which is producing slippers of the sandals. As I'm saying, I have samples here that I wanted to show you to you. This is some of the products that I have made by myself by discovering my talent. So it was through core that really helped me to have this opportunity to produce such a wonderful slippers like this. Mr. Alberto Kran, please, you can have one for yourself for a cool price. So thank you, Core. Thank you for bringing this program to us. I'm much grateful.
Thank you, Reverend Alberto Kran, for this opportunity. I was introduced to the Core program last year, and the Core program is an initiative by the Springboard Foundation that gave people the ability to bounce back. The Core program has brought me back to drawing. It was through one of the messages by Reverend Albert Okran on talents. He said that our talents are meant for service to God and to our fellow humans. So now I watched some YouTube videos, and then I got advice from a few friends in the arts, and I have commission works now. Also, having been a team lead for about 2 of the groups, the mentoring groups on the WhatsApp platform, I was able to enhance my communication skills as well as be more timely. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Finance, the Managing Director of MTN Ghana, the leadership team of Springboard Foundation, our young people gathered here today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from everyone at the Mastercard Foundation. Firstly, I am delighted to join you virtually today for the national convocation of the Spring Road Show, the biggest gathering of young people across the country. Having had the opportunity to engage with many young people via the Springboard platform, I have no doubt that the work that Comfort and Albert are championing will continue to make a significant contribution to preparing and equipping our young people for the future of work, entrepreneurship, and community development. Today's event is extra special because we are using this platform to launch a truly inspirational piece of work created by young people for young people. And just in case you were wondering what I'm talking about, take the conversation you just heard from the young people who spoke before me and multiply that at the national scale. If the picture I just painted excites you, you're not alone. In May last year, the Mastercard Foundation partnered with Springboard Foundation and Solidaridad through the COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program that we call CORE to provide e-mentoring, e-counseling, and e-learning from young Ghanaians between the age of 17 years to 35 years old in the formal and informal sector of the economy. Co-designed with our partners, the program targeted 700,000 young people with the aim of building their resilience, health awareness, coping, and work readiness skills. I remember when the partnership started, we were confident it would serve the need of the teeming young people who were looking for opportunities to learn. Despite our optimism about the success of the program, nothing prepared us to the impact that would eventually be delivered through CORE. Out of the planned 700 targeted youth, the program ended up reaching over 3 million young people and a cumulative of 23 million by the end of the program in December 2020 through the various digital media channels. The 3 million young people were reached on a monthly basis, therefore a cumulative number of 23 million young people in total. Then came a swell of stories of impact by young people across the country who benefited from the CORE program and were driving change in their own lives and communities. That led us to the decision to actively document the feedback from the participants and to compile them into a compendium that we title Tales of Resilience. In the Tales of Resilience, you will encounter the story of real young people navigating the challenge they face as the world grappled with the most defining global health crisis of our time. You will read about Clara, whose painting business is experiencing growth through the pandemic due to enhanced customer service and the use of social media to promote her craft, applying knowledge she gained from the CORE program. You will also read about Samuel, who pivoted his barbering business to a house-to-house appointment model base, doubling his income while saving on operation costs. You will encounter over 180 young people sharing their experience to inspire other young people to action. I'm truly inspired by those stories, and I believe you will too. The biggest takeaway for me is that presented with the opportunities, young people will take up the mantle, navigate the most complex of situations, and create a better situation for themselves, their families, and their communities. In conclusion, at the Mastercard Foundation, we believe in co-creating solutions with our partners and with the young people themselves to enable young people to fully realize their potential. I want to extend our gratitude to the Springboard Foundation and Solidaridad for a truly impactful program. To the mentors who volunteered their time to make the program a success, thank you. And to you, to the young people who participated and are now creating opportunities for other young people, I say well done. Congratulations. Keep creating ripples of impact wherever you go. I would like to conclude with a quote from our CEO and President, Rita Roy. Emphasizing the importance of providing opportunity for young people, she said, "There's no silver bullet, but success is closer than it might seem. There are opportunities all around us. We just need to make them visible and real and give young people the tools to do the right." I believe the CORE program has demonstrated to us that it is possible when we create and make opportunities available to young people. Together, let's continue to hold out the light so that young Ghanaians can see and create their own pathway to a secured and prosperous future. Thank you.
For West, Central, and North Africa of Mastercard Foundation. We're live, ladies and gentlemen, on Joy 99.7 FM, Joy Prime, myjoyonline.com, as well as on Springboard Roadshows, YouTube, and Facebook channels, and it doesn't end there. We're also live on YFM in Accra, Kumasi, and Takoradi, and on the social media platforms of the Ministries of Finance and Information. We've got you covered all around. And our hashtag is Springboard 2021 and hashtag the big one. And now I'd like to hand over to Albert and Comfort Okran, who have been joined by Kafui Mills Odoi from Mastercard Foundation for a very, very special event within our event. Take it away.
So on behalf of Mastercard Foundation, on behalf of Springboard Roadshow Foundation, and on behalf of Solidaridad, West Africa and Ghana, I declare the core stories of resilience duly launched.
All right. Nice. If there are no fireworks, there's no lunch. Thank you. At this point, we'd like to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance to join Kafui and Albert and Comfort on the stage for a presentation of the core tales of resilience, which will be done to him. This is the Springboard Roadshow 2021 virtual convocation. And the Finance Minister is coming up to receive the very special wrapped edition, a copy of the book, Core Tales of Resilience, duly launched today, the 10th of June, 2021. And it's joined by Mr. Selo Madadevo, CEO of MTN Ghana. Thank you. Duly launched. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And the Core Tales of Resilience has been duly launched. We want to take you now to some great music. And they came up earlier. If you missed them in the beginning, don't worry, we have them for you again. This is Kwampa. Enjoy.
Listen to this. Enyi shino abanka bada mensa. Ishe mechi police fuzi mechi nefe bisamede milia ifye ya edwende ifye ya anka banka bada mensa. Ewa miengo kama meka oza semuna me aba. Kama mika wotia semuna bibibi awa kama misuma kanche abani kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankafoda mensa awa kama misuma kanche abani kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankafoda mensa idiba kama mika oza semuna me Okana maka odia samunam awan kama menso mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofoda mensa awan kama menso mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofoda kwamba wa miengo kama meka odia samunam aba Kama mika otia semuna bibibi awan kama menso mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofoda mensa awan kama menso mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofoda every iwa miengo kama mika otia semuna aba Kama mika wotia semuna awan kama mesu mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofu every year awan kama mesu mankanche abane kabanda mensa arrehosem ifye ya enche hankofu na mensa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kwampa, for the beautiful Made in Ghana music. This is the Springboard Virtual Convocation 2021. And just to remind you that you need to be downloading, if you haven't already, the MTN Pulse app, the Enterprise Advantage app, and the UMB Speed app. And that's going to get you opportunities to do great things. Our hashtag is hashtag Springboard 2021, hashtag the big one. And we have a big speech from our keynote speaker in a while. But ahead of that, I'd like you to introduce you to our next speaker, who is a seasoned telecoms and financial services business leader with over 22 years of experience spanning several years in the UK, the USA, the Caribbean, and Africa. In addition to extensive C-level telecoms experience across various operators, our speaker has over 10 years of consulting experience. First, as a technology consultant for Hewlett-Packard Consulting in the UK and in the USA, and as a management consultant for LEK Consulting, where he focused on mergers and acquisitions and private equity consulting products. Prior to his current job, he was Chief Executive Officer of Digicel in Haiti. Let's put our hands together and give a warm Springboard round of applause to the Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana, Mr. Selom Adadevoh. And keep the applause flowing as he comes up to address us at this very special event, which is the Springboard 21 Roadshow Virtual Convocation. We're live across so many channels. Joy 99.7, Joy Prime, and Joy Line, YFM, Finance and Info Ministry, social media handles. Mr. Adadevoh, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, it's a pleasure to be at this session with you. We thank God for his mercies. It's been a tough year, but we're grateful to be here today. I spoke at Springboard 2 years ago, and it's great that Albert and Comfort have called me back, which means I didn't do too much damage in 2019. So thank you, Albert and Comfort. It's great to be here, an invited guest as well, thanks. And I'm looking forward to the next 20 minutes where I share a journey with you about my leadership story. Let me just make sure there. Okay. So I'll be speaking about my leadership journey and what it means for young people today as far as repositioning themselves for the future. My journey has been an interesting one. You see music, sports, and art on the screen, and that's my introduction of who I am. Through this journey, I've taken solace in music, in sports, and in art. And I'll just focus on the bottom right artwork, which shows water and a sea line. And when you look at that picture, that's a picture I took myself from the sky. It shows a lot of peace and tranquility. But this was middle of October 2016, the day after Hurricane Matthew in Haiti. And what that picture depicts is there is a lot that's behind that the eye cannot see. And if you look at that picture, you could be deceived that everything was peaceful and everything was okay. But behind it all, there was chaos, there was turbulence, there was loss of life, and we're recovering from the hurricane. And this has various implications when you think about leadership. Because what you see in front of you is not always what you will get. And we have, as leaders, to look beyond what we see, to really unearth what's behind. The journey of great leadership starts with believing strongly in a purpose. And I remember as a young 10-year-old boy, there was an art competition in school for the 27th World Children's Art Exhibition. And my artwork was not selected. And I was quite amazed. So I went to the headmistress and I complained and I created a lot of chaos. And the process was redone. I had a certain belief in me that the judgment was wrong. Needless to say, 2 months later, I won the gold medal for the 27th World Children's Art Exhibition in South Korea. Thank you. And I think the story there is really about believing so much that you act. And a lot of the times, we don't believe enough to act. And we give in too early. And we'll see that come through as we go through the presentation. Today, we talk a lot about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and it's a fantastic thing for Africa. But many years ago, 50 or so years ago, a certain young man, Kwame Nkrumah, had a vision. And I read something he said. Leadership is not by birth, but by a vision that transcends generations. And we're seeing this today with his vision for a united Africa. And I'm proud as an African to say, today we have the opportunity to make something that was thought about and was a vision 50 years ago to become reality in a not so distant future, just by believing and putting our strength where our beliefs are. Too many times we yield to the voices of mediocrity that so often surround us. I remember when I finished university, I studied civil engineering at Tech. And at the time, I had this thought that one day in the future, the world will be defined by technology. And I wanted to change my direction from civil engineering into technology. And a lot of voices around me were very negative. Why would you spend 4 or 5 years in school and do nothing with your bachelor's degree? There was a lot of negativity, and I was seen to be stubborn, I was seen to be a truant, and it made no sense to many people around me. But I really believed that if I didn't get into computers, if I didn't get into technology, that I wasn't going to be ready for the future ahead of us. Today we talk about COVID, we talk about internet, we talk about e-commerce, we talk about 5G, 4G. Today's world is driven by technology, and the top businesses on the largest stock exchanges in the world are technology companies. My vision was the right one, but the voices around me were super negative, and if I'd listened to those voices, I probably wouldn't be here today talking to you. We have to believe in the voice that we hear from within. And remember, greatness is rare, and so are the voices of support. And it's only when you believe enough that you would act and continue to act even when you have obstacles in front of you. If you believe strongly in something, then there will be no limits. Many a time, we just don't believe enough. I want to share a quote by a controversial character, Colin Kaepernick, who used to be a quarterback in American football. But he believed so strongly that the words in the US national anthem did not prevail in society. So one day, when the national anthem was being played, he decided to kneel down in protest. His actions were because he believed that the words he was about to recite and sing meant nothing. So he says, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. He got castigated, he got removed from his team, he was earning a lot of money. But today, Colin is someone who is very admired by a lot of people for what he did and what he stood for, and the fight he took on to the world. And he's actually preaching his message to youngsters and fighting for a purpose in his life. And things haven't been so bad after all. Leadership involves taking risks. And the authenticity of leadership is the only tool that can give you the stamina to stay the course. It's very interesting because a lot of the times we believe something, or we think we believe something, but we don't believe it enough. And therefore, at the slightest chance, we sway and we lose our footing. But leadership is also about resilience. Your ability to stay the course because you believe in something so much that you don't give up. To be a leader, you have to want to be one. You need that determination to survive the bumps, to give you the energy to stay the course. I remember in 2003 or 2004, I was a technology consultant for HP, I had achieved all the highest levels of technology certification from Cisco to Microsoft. And I felt like I was only implementing things that business people had decided. And I wanted to move from being an implementer to become a decision maker. And ultimately, that was when my vision to become a CEO was born. And I had to put in all the work to try to get there. I learned a lot in the journey thinking about how to become a CEO. And I realized that I had to quit my job. And the path I selected or elected to go on was to gain further studies in business, which I did. But I had to give up my job, give up my earnings, and I had to take a loan of over $150,000 to go and study with no guarantees. After business school, I was working at a consulting firm because I felt that I needed to accelerate my learning. Someone had told me that you needed to have core knowledge to be successful. And as part of that journey, I decided consulting was the path to develop this core knowledge. But at some point, I had to continue on the journey of my dream to becoming a CEO, which meant I had to quit. And that's when I left the US and came to Ghana in 2011. That decision meant I had given up. I was a year and a half away from becoming partner. The minimum I would have earned at the time would have been somewhere between $800,000 a year to $1 million a year. But I gave that up to earn less than $10,000 in Ghana to put me on my journey to becoming a CEO. And I think sometimes the risks we take in life determine our success ultimately. Today I stand here because I made that decision, and I was bold enough to stick with a decision even when things didn't work out. I quit that job after 3 years because things weren't working out. And that could have been the end of the dream. But something in me kept me going, and I felt that I could still bounce back. And I pursued other options, and I bounced back and got the opportunity to become a CEO with a company in the Caribbean called Digicel. And I worked in Haiti for a while, and that's where I took that picture from. The story here is that even when you have bumps in the road, you have to keep going if you really believe. And the authenticity of your beliefs is what will give you that stamina to keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, in pursuit of my dreams and vision, I made several risky decisions, and I've shared a few of those with you. But my boldness was because I strongly believed. But that was not the only risky decision I took. Several decisions have been made along the way. And leaving my job 2 or 3 times with no guarantees were all big risks in that decision-making process. All through this journey, I stayed true to the authenticity of my motivations and values. And throughout this period, I maintained my values to be respect, integrity, and humility. And all the way through, I made sure everything I did was grounded by these same values. But my motivations were always very pure. And that gave me clarity of mind to keep going, even when things seemed very bad. Building trust is a fundamental value in leadership. And this is shaped by consistency and not intensity. I remember listening to a general of the U.S. Marine Corps, and he talked about leadership starting from laying your bed in the morning. And what he meant was the discipline of laying your bed and the consistency of doing it every day meant so much more than doing it very well once. And that's exactly how you build trust. If you can demonstrate consistency, and you can demonstrate consistency all the time, you will build trust. And trust is a fundamental value for leadership. We're held back a lot in life by the things that we consume our minds by. And I quote here, we're held back by the voluntary slavery we have imposed on our own minds. When I talk about believing in something, the only reason we don't believe enough is because we've enslaved our minds. We look around us, we succumb to mediocrity. We use examples that have negative stories because someone else couldn't do it. And we use those stories to justify our decisions to pull out, and to pull out but not to try again. It's okay to pull out, but going again is really what tests us as leaders. Now, there's a song that I used to play in my really low days. I wake up in the morning and I listen to this song by Bob Marley. And it just gives me a very positive spirit. And I'm sure these words are words most of you have heard before. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. I hear some people singing it in the crowd. Thank you. So, these words are very powerful words. And it captures exactly what I was trying to say a couple of minutes ago about not allowing our minds to play tricks on us. And I'll read those words again. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a lady who I admire a lot, Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook at some point. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. When I talk about my leadership journey, this is one of the things that I've treasured a lot. And everywhere I've been, I've made sure that I think through the legacy of impacting the people around me through various means. I was listening to a guy called Simon Sinek some time ago, and he talked about just cause as being the fundamentals of leadership. And there were three components. Resilience was one of the components. Social impact, what you do around you, how you impact those around you. And your values and your attitude. When I think about the impact around us and what leaders can do, the best leaders, like Sheryl said, are those that walk away, but everything else they've touched continues because they impacted the lives around them and made them all better people to be able to carry that mantle further down the journey. There is a man who spoke very wise words in 1963 who has been an inspiration for me throughout my life. Martin Luther King. And he said some very smart and wise words, but a lot of these words came from a place of core belief. I took one of his quotes because it has a lot of things in here. He talks about children, in this case the youth, but he also talks about a nation, our expectations of the broader community. But then lastly, he talks about discrimination. But he lands on one thing, and all he was asking for is that we are judged by our character. As leaders, I talked about superficialities some time ago in my TED Talk, and I talked about it again in 2019 at Springboard. A lot of us are blinded by superficialities, and we don't look beyond what we see. And I'll go back to that picture that I shared at the beginning, where you saw the water and the shoreline, very calm, a day after Hurricane Matthew in 2016. And that's what leadership is about. And I'll read this quote. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I focus here on the character part and the importance of that in our lives as leaders. All through my journey, this has been one of the things that I've emphasized. We talk a lot about consistency. We talk about consistency building trust, and character is the beginning of that journey. And through this, I've always emphasized it's not about you, the individual, it's about everybody else. And any leader who is more about themselves than everybody else will never be a great leader. Great leadership is what Sheryl Sandberg summarized. It's about everybody else other than yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, the impact of great leadership is giving someone belief by giving them the tools with which they can change the world. And it's amazing because all of us sitting here have a gift. But not all of us have discovered our gift. And part of discovering that gift is believing in something so much that you are directed to where that gift really is. So I'm going to read that final quote at the bottom of this one, which says, there is one person, and I believe strongly that individuals can change the world in their own ways. It could be small, it could be big, but ultimately, each of us individuals have the power to change the world in some way, some shape, or form. And that one person can be you. Ladies and gentlemen, keep believing. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. CEO of MTN Ghana, Selom Adadevoh. Now, what did you take away from his address? Apart from the fact that he has a really nice singing voice. What did you take away from his address? You can send your comments to our WhatsApp number for just that, and we'll read it out. Read as many of them out as possible. 0544315161. That's where you can put in all your questions that you want to ask Selom Adadevoh of MTN. Anything about his journey that you'd like to get some more clarification from, because there will be a colloquium towards the end of today's encounter. 0544315161. Just a quick reminder before a spot of poetry from Ofusua that we are live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Joy Prime, My Joy Online, YFM in Accra, Kumasi and Takrady. We are on the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Information's social media handles. We are on Springboard Roadshows, Facebook and YouTube handles. We're everywhere. So there's no excuse. Tell a friend to tell a friend that this is it. It's happening here. It's the Springboard 2021 Roadshow Virtual Convocation. And now, before our keynote address, a spot of lyrical dexterity from Ofusua. Enjoy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really, really excited to be here and amongst you. I share a bit of me with you through poetry, and this is extempo spoken word poetry, which means that I am working with you to create this piece. And to help me do that, you've listened to a lot of speech. You're probably thinking about different things. What comes to mind immediately at random? I'll just take 3 words from the audience and then would create something with it.
Salt.
Okay, salt.
Crisis.
Sure, we're working with salt, crisis, and a third?
Bounce back.
Okay. So we have salt, we have crisis, we have bounce back. Salt, crisis, bounce back. Dear Christian creative merchant, navigating the COVID crisis, I hope you learned to breathe in lockdown, taking the days as they came and finding creative ways of survival. Truth is, many locked themselves up and never ventured the virtual. Some, however, never forgot their mandate to be salt, and so excelled. They are thriving even in crisis. This is for you who pull the brakes and so need to bounce back. Salt affects its container or a crisis by just being, and not by our limited experience of its use. When the good Lord spoke of salt in Luke's account, he made sure to reference making of manure and as fertilizer. Every good farmer knows that potassium is a necessary element for all plant, animal, and human life. Salt impact on situation is seen by how it aids in managing the growth of things wanted and impeding things not wanted by being a disinfectant. By just being in right proportion, not adulterated, and simply staying present where it's needed, not locked up all day among kindred soul salt, prevents bad things from growing and enhances the good. You are salt of the earth. Remember that in your bounce back. Dear Christian creative merchants navigating the COVID crisis, you are a steward of the earth, and in the earth you will have trouble, but you are well able to overcome. See, crisis is a crucible for change, and only good managers of resources in these times of seeming drought will profit from and seize the stage. See, economies are about to open up. Those who didn't seize the period of crisis will have little to show for. While you mark your time, grow in your knowledge of your field, get creative at tapping water from humid air, learn to manage the little water you have till the rains come, and when the drought is over, be sure your foundations will stand the slamming of torrents and wind and rain. It will get rowdy before the calm. And finally, believe in the sure word governing your idea and march out in faith. Thank you. My name remains Emel Fosua. It's been a delight. Do follow me on socials and let's get interacting. Thank you.
Fosua will definitely follow you. And we now have an address from our special guest mentor. We're with him in Tamale for the Springboard Youth Dialogues. And then we caught up with him in Sunyani also for another Springboard Youth Dialogue. Let's put our hands together for the Minister for Finance, the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, our special guest mentor at this virtual convocation of Springboard 2021 Roadshow, live across Ghana and across the world on YouTube and Facebook. Mr. Minister, the floor is yours. Yes, so we're just making sure that we are on. Then you can take this. All right. Yeah. Your microphone. And we're good to go with our special guest mentor, the Finance Minister, who will be speaking with us when the microphone says yes. Yes, go ahead, sir.
It is on. It is on. Thanks, Kafui. Good morning. And it's good to be here. This is the final leg for the dialogue. Yeah. Well, it's really amazing to have shared these past 5 days with all of you. It's an awful lot of time, but truly it couldn't be time better spent. So first to thank Kafui, who has been with us throughout, and truly to thank Albert and Comfort for these youth dialogues. But truly the resilience and perseverance the past 15 years, daring, consistent, this all-important national effort to inspire young people. Thank you. And it's certainly given me the opportunity to meet the youth in many ways and talk about enterprises and entrepreneurship. Sunyani and Tamale were great. We met some very good people. It was an opportunity for me to reconnect, because in this job that we have, you could be in the office, even more than 24 hours, because there's always more than enough to do. But I think the issue of mentoring young people and challenging them to live a life of purpose truly is my first love, and also, of course, the issue of finance and how to then make it advantageous to this group of people who really, in the end, are the lifeblood of our country. So how do you imbue a life based on strong ethics and values, a life of optimism in the midst of challenging or crisis? Where do you find the salt and how to bounce back from that is? And so this really gives me the opportunity again to do that, to remember the reason for being in the seat that I am in, and to really see how one can eschew this pall of a poverty of aspiration that you keep feeling. It's overwhelming our youth. As one of the ladies, Barbara Beatty, said, challenges are inevitable, but how do we convert these perceived troubles into triumphs? And that's our challenge. And I think Selim also said it in many, many ways. So I was stirred by stories and life-changing ones by some of the youth on the strip. Obed, Evelyn, and Michael. Michael talking about dropping out as a dropout and therefore selling yogurt in the streets, and is now a senior manager at a hospitality management professional, and has worked with international brands such as Golden Tulip, etc., etc. Then there was Evelyn, who received clarity on career progression that led to her to choose a profession in sustainable, environmental sustainability, and is currently working with a reputable company in Brong Ahafo, and also Obed, whose entrepreneurial spirit and vision was awakened during Springboard and took steps to establish a printing company that currently employs 14 people in the Sunyani area. So this is what we are looking for. It's not, government continuing to hire 700,000 people into the public and civil service that results in close to 60% of our revenue being expended on them, but truly finding a way in which anybody who has skills that we must provide will form their own company and hire these 14 people. Not a factory with 10,000 people working, but 10,000 people who have their own businesses and employing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 14 people. That is the story of the future. The story of my own childhood and my youth, which I shared with them in the regions, is really evidence, in a sense, of God's grace, destiny, opportunities, and a can-do spirit to achieve that. And truly, the Lord did not give us a spirit of timidity, but of power. And we need to believe and be bold about it, as Selim mentioned, so that we realize the purpose for which we were put on this earth. Most young people I met, and I believe those of you watching me live from all over Ghana, and I dare say the world, are looking to graduate from some tertiary institution to get jobs and to begin to build a life of financial independence. We have a situation here in Ghana where 71% of the Ghanaian population is under 35, compared to a global average of 57%. According to the World Bank, at least 109,000 students graduate from tertiary institutions in Ghana each year. Each one of these needs a job. However, it is also known that 83% of our students and youth do not find jobs. So we have an economically active population of some 15 to 35, which constitutes about 9 million people, 33% of our population, and we need jobs for them. During this COVID period, a staggering 113 million people in Africa lost their jobs, and 39 million were pushed into extreme poverty. this is what happened. Currently, we have about 450 million youth on the continent, and by 2050, there will be 850 million. And in any time, any year that 16 or so million people come into the workforce, we do not have jobs for 83% of them. So this is a crisis, and where do we find the salt to be able to bounce back? And that power is within ourselves. And this is what we intend to do as a government, but really to reignite, that can-do spirit in us, understand what we have in our hands, what is our skill set, deeply think about it, and be ready to take the risk to realize the dreams that you have. So young people, the opportunities are there, but it's within you, and you must somehow dig deep to do that. The state, of course, should create an environment that de-risks the risk you are taking, and therefore, how do I get technology to you? How do I make sure that the financial landscape is solid? How do you get the skills? And how do we create an environment that is entrepreneurial and enables you to take these risks? And I think that's our core challenge, as a government and as a people. And how do we encourage the road shows such as this and youth dialogues so that there's a sense of community in taking this sometimes very, very lonely road that we have to take. But maybe a little bit about the story of entrepreneurship. And we have to realize that entrepreneurs, at the very least, fail 4 times. So you have to start. You can't sit and slumber, And we really have an issue of listening to the noise that Selim talked about, which really cripples us from going forward. Thomas Edison, in getting to the electric light bulb, failed 10,000 times. And he says those were not failures. They were indications of what not to do. And finally, we have the light bulb, and we take it for granted. So that's part of it. How do you turn failures into triumph? So in my first business venture, the question was asked, is this worth it? Like Selim, how do you leave Wall Street to come to Ghana in 1990 and say you're going to create an investment bank and you have no money? This is with Kelly and Togbe Afede. Sort of a precocious, and idealistic view about life, but a passion to see whether this was transferable, and you take the risk for that. So guess what? We found a cousin of mine who was into construction, had offices in Kantamanto, and he gave us 1 room. So just imagine, I'm going to start an investment bank in an environment that doesn't quite know what investment bank is, and then also starting in Kantamanto in 1 room. So 3 people who claim they've been in America and have barely any cars to even show for it. But that really was, So we failed. Maybe we should just give this a shot. After all, what's there to lose in your own country? What is there to lose in your own country? And what are you responding to? An inner call or the outside? So that's how we started. And today, 30 years later, everybody believes you started with lots of money, silver spoon in your mouth, etc. But that's where it was, Kantamanto, in a construction company, single room. And endurance, perseverance, belief, and passion will take you there. So today, they have over 500,000 clients, assets under management, least 6 billion Ghana cedis, or $1 billion equivalent if you want to talk about that, offices around the country. And that's just what happens, you know, when you persevere. Yeah. Thank you. And then during that period, we went to the Central Bank of Ghana, to go and, you know, talk about pensions and a bunch of retiring people and what they should do with their money. But we looked just so lean and hungry that Bank of Ghana was not going to entrust us with their money for us to manage, even though clearly there was experience. So I think some 5, you know, older elderly people who are about to retire just felt so sorry for us as we were leaving empty-handed. So they said, oh, you know, why don't we give you 5 CDs each, and let's see what you can do with 25 CDs. And you are like, wow, you know, 25 CDs? Well, these are your parents, you know, and we had to be respectful about that. So we took it and said, yes, let's see what we can do with the 25 CDs. And that is really the beginning of this whole mutual fund industry that we now see. So it is the initials of those 5 people that then formed the EPAC Mutual Fund. And that has grown into an African story. People have built their homes, taken children to school, and now I think Data Bank might be managing over 2 billion CDs in mutual funds because we did not despise small beginnings. And that's crucial. You can't despise small beginnings, whether you're from Wall Street or from the royal home or whatever. The passion to do your craft, the passion to use your talent to ensure that humanity progresses, an understanding of your own sociology, respecting it, and turning it into something that then brings triumph and prosperity to other people. But do not despise small beginnings. But you should also be clear for yourself about failure. I think in the US, 20% of businesses fail during the first 2 years, 45% during the first 5 years, and 65% by the 10th year, with maybe 10 to 25% surviving after 15 years. So a lot of people have walked this walk, and we have to believe in ourselves deeply to be able to reach where we want to go and build our society outside of government, being the crucible that hires everybody, which can't work. And as a center-right government, ours is to create the environment for production, for economic freedom, so that people can really achieve what they want to achieve without resort to government. So you can see right from the beginning when we came into government to talk about economic freedom and reduction in taxes to look at production, but also a core belief that without the human capital, we cannot get to where we are, and that's issues of free SHS, etc. But then to industrialize, you also need agriculture, which employs people, which is decentralized, so that productivity will be coming from everywhere in the country. And that's what we began to do. Went through the COVID crisis, in which clearly lots of countries were hit, the whole world. We managed, even though Africa, I think it's the first kind of recession in 25 years, and we call it the lost decade. Economy contracted by some 2%. Ghana was able to eke out about 0.4% growth during that time. And that's because of the work that was done before. But the president immediately charged us that this is a moment to seize, even though we are in crisis, and therefore the ministry should develop a program for revitalization, and that's how we came out of the Ghana Cares Obatampa program to transition us into revitalization without bending our heads and giving up. So that's what we did. You can see during this period we also tackled very strongly the issue of the financial system, and therefore had a restructuring, which had its, many people against it because it seemed very harsh. But when you meet a situation where the asset quality review analysis have been done, which suggests that the whole banking system might collapse, you do have to make bold decisions. There were 4.6 million depositors who had to be saved, and so we spent some 21 billion to be able to do that. Could it be done better? Anything can always be done better. Was there an alternative? I don't believe there was an alternative. That had to be done. And so today you look at the banking system, and assets have increased from 81 to 155 billion, deposits from 51 to about 90 billion. Non-performing loans are down from 21 to 17, and then you can also see capital adequacy ratios moving from 15 to 21. So those are important. We now have a strong chassis to be able to then tackle the issue of the youth and how best, to create the enablers for you to be able to do that. We also have introducing Development Bank, and I've listened sometimes to the news, and I don't do very well with the news because I think it sometimes leads a pall on us, and you feel disempowered. And so, like Peter, I'm like, just look in Jesus' face and don't look at the waves, or you might sink. And I think that's what Selim was referring to. Make sure that the melancholic talk does not get to you. The 12 spies that went, Joshua and Caleb came with a different interpretation, and 10 of them went into the society and said, let's go back to Egypt, and created, a situation which was not what God's purpose was, but that is what happened. So we have to be careful. We have to ask ourselves, what it is that we have gotten, what is in our hands, and how can we translate it into good for yourselves, for the nation, the people around you. And I guess, in the end, one has to reflect on your purpose very deeply. You need to research the opportunities that you have, understand what it is you have in hand, and don't despise small things. And reach for the change that will transform you, because it can happen. Resilient in the face of all of these challenges, because there's nothing that's unsurmountable. And truly, the sky is not the limit. It's way beyond that. You limit yourself. It's an issue of limitlessness. The power for Christians is in the Holy Spirit, and if resurrection can occur, there's no limit to what can happen. Responsible in your use of social media and technology, not to waste time, but to add value and to rise to the very top in what you aspire to do. So that is my encouragement to you. And for us, I'll quote Mariana Mazzucato, who wrote a book called Entrepreneurial State. And really, in the end, he says, the visible hand of the state should make innovations happen. So my charge as I sit there is, how do I effectively create an ecosystem that supports what entrepreneurs have to do, where there are systems that work, where there's scalability for you to be able to grow and where there's structure, so that you don't depend on people's magnanimity, but truly on your talent and your belief in yourself and ability to go forward. I've also, sat back to reflect on one's life and sort of broken it into decades or so, just really to understand what has been driving one, understand